at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugarland, or as we like to call it, Sugarland, if you're from around here. Anyways, it is Pie Day. It is National Pie Day. I'm going to turn the camera around to show y'all all the festivities happening here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugarland. We got KPRC Channel 2 here with a storm tracker. That thing looks like it could go through a tornado. Suggest it, but it certainly looks that way. So let's enter the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugarland and check out some of the festivities. I am Johnny Hemberger, the YouTube manager here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. And wow, it's hopping today. Y'all should definitely come check it out. Now, I know that my son loves this dinosaur ride right here. It kind of bobs up and down. Kids like it. Kids love it. My son is 3 years old, so that kind of gives you the demographic of who that ride's for. I tried to ride it, but they won't let me. So I don't know about all that. We have all sorts of raffles and prizes and different vendors set up from different outlets. So HEB I know is here. Channel 2 KPRC is here. You know what I think I'm going to do? Before we go further, let me go get a picture of our T-Rex here at Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugarland. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, I'm not going to read all of that to you right now, but this is one of my favorite T-Rex mounts, I think, in the world. I love how it's just right here in the middle of the museum. It's one of the very first things you see as you walk in. But we are here because it is Pie Day. So let's see if we can talk to Kavita's self. I see she's talking to somebody right now, but I want to get her mic'd up so we can talk about what's going on here for Pie Day at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugarland. So let's kind of vamp here while I can get some screen time with Kavita. KPRC has this prize wheel going here. That's pretty cool. I want to maybe see if I can get it actually spinning. But for now, I want to see if I can get Kavita. There's Kavita. And Sammy, our director of PR here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. Kavita, do you have a moment for us?
Sure.
Okay, let me get the microphone here. Back behind the scenes, turn on the microphone. There we go. You clip that on yourself, or
I can hold it, is that okay?
You can hold it just fine.
Yeah.
Let's get a good shot of maybe the T-Rex behind you as you kind of tell us, walk and talk about what's going on here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science Sugarland for Pie Day.
Well, this is really fun because for spring break, we're open every day and we have something fun going on every day. Today happens to be Pie Day, where we're celebrating all things math and Einstein. And we also have HEB here sampling pie. So you get to come on out, check things out, learn something, and have something good to eat.
What's better than eating pie on
Pie Day? Exactly.
Where's HEB set up?
It's set up upstairs.
Okay.
The entire event is upstairs. There's a pie challenge, pie base bracelets, pie memory games. We have all kinds of ways to stump you with pie.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kavita.
You're welcome.
Awesome. I'm going to go explore. Cool. All right, let me turn off this extra microphone here and let's just explore the museum. You know, I think some people don't realize that we do have a campus. Houston Museum of Natural Science has a campus here in Sugarland. It is the neighborhood museum, and it couldn't be more apropos that it's named that because it's literally right here in the neighborhood of Sugarland. It's really, really cool. I know I love to bring my son here. He's 3 years old. Really bringing my son here is an excuse for me to come here. I am 40 years old, and I still love this place like I'm 3 years old. So let's just keep exploring HMNS Sugarland. Oh, they got the shadow box kind of going. It's not really a shadow box, but you know what I'm saying. It kind of sheds a light. Here, I'll show y'all. Is there a button? Yeah, right there. So you press it, and then you go back against the wall here. Let me turn the thing around. And the light should come on here in a second if I pushed it right. Let's see, watch it not work while I'm trying to display it. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you shine it on me, like on my head. And then you turn back. There's your shadow on the wall. That's really cool. Thank y'all for helping me out with that. That's one of my favorite rooms in the museum is that shadow would you call it a shadow box? It's like a closet that you walk in and it makes shadows. The T-Rex again, we're gonna go upstairs and see all the festivities, but I just kind of want to show you a kind of brief walkthrough of the museum. Now, at the main campus, we have the new Matter in Motion, Hall of Matter in Motion open. So this is kind of like a mini Hall of Matter in Motion, or at least chemistry, here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land. Oh, I'm gonna go check out the dig pit. We have a pit here in Sugar Land Museum where you can actually dig up a Triceratops. Maybe I shouldn't give it away, but yeah, there's a big Triceratops in there. And the kiddos or adultos can get in there and dig up actual, well, not actual, but replica Triceratops fossil. It's really, really cool. Okay, let's go upstairs. Let's see what's going on upstairs. There's Drayton. Hi, Drayton.
Hello.
He's here probably 367 days a year. That's too many days, but that's how many days, that's how often Drayton's here holding it down at Houston Museum of Natural Science, Sugar Land. We're gonna go upstairs now. Let's go up these stairs. And as we go up these stairs, there's an interesting bit of history that I will probably get to at the end of the live stream here, in that this museum used to be, pardon me, excuse me, used to be a prison. There's a lot of history in these walls, and these bricks were actually made by the prisoners. I'm not trying to bring everybody down right here on the live stream. It's not like that. It is just a really fascinating bit of history that this entire building used to be a prison, and it has now been repurposed. It is beautiful. There's a lot of history in these walls, as we will. I'll talk about it a little bit later. I want to work on an actual video explaining the history of this building. So here's Water's Extreme Journey. This is all about the water cycle and different ways we can help keep water clean. Rainwater, seawater, fresh water, all the water basically. This sphere is one of my favorite things. Right now showing the land surface temperature for each day going through the year. Can you see that? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Land surface temperature, counting up the days. Currently it's at 2002. Cool, look at Greenland up there, fluctuating its surface temperature. Gosh, I love this museum. So one of the things about the Houston Museum of Natural Science, the main campus, obviously it's massive. It's 4 different levels. It's so spread out. There's really no way to see the entire main campus downtown all in one day. You kind of have to make multiple day trips out of it. Now, in Sugar Land, one thing I love about Houston Museum of Natural Science, Sugar Land, is I feel like you could see this whole museum in a day. So that's one of the things that makes it really cool to come visit, is that you can see all of it. If you, I can't even talk. Even if you only have a couple hours, you can see a whole lot of this museum in just a couple of hours. Now let's walk into a little bit more paleontology hall here. I want to show you something. I want to give you a little bit of nightmare fuel. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera back around on myself for just a second to set this up. Imagine you're in Galveston. Imagine you're in the water in Galveston, or you're up in Lake Conroe or Lake Livingston or something like that. The water's kind of murky. You can only see, maybe a couple feet down. You can't see where your feet are beneath the surface. Sorry if I'm getting anybody nightmares here, but imagine you feel a little tickle on your feet from just below the murky surface. And what you look down to see through the murk is this guy. That, or any of these things. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. No, sir. I'm sorry if I gave you all some nightmares right now, but yeah, imagine some tickling your toes as you're dipping your toes in the water. Little tentacles feeling you out. And it's that thing. My goodness, you would never put your feet in the water again. Let's keep exploring the museum here. So, obviously we have a great paleontology display, even here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land. And you can actually see it. You can walk through this hall, you can spend time in this hall, and you can get a really, really good feel for the entire museum. You can explore the entire museum in a day. I live personally, me, Johnny Hemberger, YouTube manager here at HMNS. I just live in Missouri City, right down the street. So it is so convenient for me just to hop on Highway 6, for me in particular, and come visit this museum. Don't you love the way that I can't even pronounce it, Pachycephalosaurus headbutts people in Jurassic Park? In Jurassic World, I should say. Oh, we got comments rolling in. How deep are those creatures found? Oh, that's a deep question that we can't get into right here in this live stream as I'm kind of glancing over things. But we have a whole YouTube channel of different videos kind of explaining that and different paleontological science. So if you have any questions about how deep are the fossils found, where they're found, how they're prepared, you need to subscribe to Houston Museum of Natural Science, because we have all sorts of videos explaining just that. And while we're on the subject, this right here, this mount is replica, and one of the ways you can tell that it's a replica is how it's mounted. The beams kind of going through the feet like that. It's not jewelry mounted, which actually holds the bones onto the brackets. Now, laying the Triceratops at the main campus is 80% complete. When you go to the main campus and you've seen laying our Triceratops at the main campus downtown, that is a mostly complete Triceratops. That's how it was found in the ground. It's very complete. I'm working on a video explaining in depth the theory of quills, how some theorize that Triceratops now had quills. Lane, our Triceratops, has the most complete feet in the world. We also found her fossilized skin. But I'm working on a video to kind of explain all that. And I'm also thinking about I am working on a video explaining kind of what, like the Black Hills uplift, that fossils are brought to the surface, that Mother Nature does 90% of our, paleontology digging work for us, that when you go out to South Dakota and Wyoming and around there, the Black Hills uplift, that dinosaur bones are closer to the surface. They're kind of hanging out cliff sides, and it's much easier to find versus digging here. If you were to dig for dinosaur fossils in Houston, Texas, you'd dig for a long time. Now, if there was a plate tectonics happening underneath us in Houston, and over millions of years, it kind of pushed those layers up to the surface the way that mountains do, that's how you kind of a lot more dinosaur fossils. It basically brings things that are millions of years old up to the surface. So it's really, really cool. You saw that feet video? So there's a little, I don't know how far I want to get, but yeah, dinosaur feet are a thing. Some people very much like dinosaur feet. I won't comment on that too much, but yeah, there's more dinosaur feet content coming, so don't you even worry about that. So here's some of the things we got going on for Pi Day before I go off on too much of a feet tangent. All these different vendors send HEB, Harold Butts. If you didn't know what the acronym or the initials standard for. Harold, what was it? Harold Edwards? Harold Edwin? Harold something middle name Butts is what HEB stands for. So there's a little nugget of information if you didn't already know about that. But yeah, the museum is popping today. Really cool. All sorts of different education opportunities. Draw pi. Pi is a massive part of mathematics, so you get radiuses and different measurements of spheres and circles using pi. You know what I should spend the remainder of this live stream doing? I should start naming out pi to as many decimal points as possible. Should I start? 3.14, and then I forget the rest. So I guess that was kind of shorter, shorter than we thought. All right, let's see what else we can kind of see. This live is meant to be just kind of a tease for what's going on here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land. So I actually think I'm gonna go down by the T-Rex and tell you guys a little bit more before we start wrapping this thing up. If you haven't already, I'm gonna flip the camera around as I'm walking so you can kind of see my face a little bit. Get to know me. Johnny Hemberger, Houston Museum of Natural Science YouTube manager. Ooh, I remember what I was gonna show y'all. A little bit of the history of this building. I won't get too into the weeds with it, but it's a really fascinating story. The building itself, you can consider an artifact or a specimen or an interesting piece that belongs in a museum. It's kind of funny, this museum belongs in a museum. It's kind of a weird way to say that. I got to keep the camera out here so y'all can see me. Where's the little plaque? What do we got some comments going here? Oh, I appreciate that. Incredible museum, and the channel is very well made. Thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. Do we have trilobite fossils? Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, if you want, I can go up there and kind of show you some trilobites a little bit closer before we wrap up the stream here. That's one of the reasons I like doing live streams. I'm looking for the plaque. I'm getting myself turned around here. One of the reasons I like doing these live streams is because those comments down there, you can kind of tell me what you want to see in real time. Oh, I think it's over here. Let's see. So, specific questions regarding paleontology or any kind of specific field. I'm not an expert per se myself in any field specifically. I'm just kind of the curator of YouTube. But I will do my best to maybe find somebody to answer these specific questions. I will mention that if you have these kind of paleontological questions, go through our videos on our channel. Just kind of scroll through. I label the videos and I describe the videos in the titles very specifically so that you can find kind of what you're looking for. So if you type into YouTube or Google HMNS trilobites, HMNS fossils, HMNS paleontology, whatever, you'll find videos and explanations for most of what you're asking in the comments here. But I myself, I'm not the expert in all different fields. It's like asking me about chemistry or asking me about the oil industry. I know a couple things just by proxy of doing these videos and being a geek myself, which geek is a good term these days. But yeah, here we are at the plaque for the history of this actual building. That's a shot of the exterior of the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land. This history of the Central State Prison Farm. So this building was completed, I'll read this first blurb. I won't get too in depth here on this stream because it's just kind of a tease. But this first blurb, completed in 1939, the structure is an example of the classical revival style of architecture and has several Art Deco decorative elements. Yeah, you can totally see that. Note the stylized brick columns on either side of the one-story porch on the south side and the construction date 1939 and terracotta on the porch gable. Maybe I'll get a sign of that as we sign off here. The original construction cost was $73,000, and then in 2003 to 2009 it was renovated, just carefully retained the building's unique architectural elements, and has cost over 100 times that amount. My goodness. Okay, so here's a really cool aerial shot. Now this would have been taken not by a drone. That would have been from an actual helicopter. I think one of the things that we kind of forget sometimes as we go through history here, especially with aerial photography. This looks, well, that doesn't look like satellite. That might be from an airplane or from a helicopter. Is that you see these aerial shots, and there's people that are young enough to remember, or young enough that might not realize that wasn't a drone, that was a helicopter or an airplane. Not every aerial picture we see these days was using a drone. So, I don't know, I'm 40 years old, I was born in 1983. What does that make me, an old millennial or something? So yeah, I remember a time before drones. I remember a time before, every single one of your friends could just hop on Amazon and buy a drone to fly around. It really is kind of magic. If you're old enough, all this stuff is kind of magic. Going from Atari to PlayStation 5 is, it's still magic to a lot of us. I kind of wonder, as we kind of wrap up the stream here, I was going to show you some trilobites. As we wrap up the stream here, I kind of remember, I think about my son, 3 years old. He was born in 2020. It's like, is any technology going to seem like magic to him anymore? They're growing up with the PlayStation 5. They're growing up with the OLED 4K TVs. And they're growing up with the drones and everything. But there's some of us still walking around that remember calling your friends on the landline telephone. Is Billy there? Can Billy play? And the mom or dad saying, I don't know where Billy is. He's out somewhere. We'll have to go find him. That's just kind of the age we grew up in. But I'm rambling here. I want to show you some trilobites before we sign off. Oh, cool. I see y'all's comments. I'm going to do my best to go back afterwards and answer them more better because I can't really do that right now. Gosh, imagine this thing. Ankylosaurus. You don't want to mess with that. So I'm gonna give you my fist for scale. My fist is kind of doing it, kind of not touching really. I know I'm an employee, but I really shouldn't be touching it. Imagine that thing whipping around at you. Don't stand a chance. Okay, some trilobites. Wow. Let's keep going. In the main campus, our section of trilobites is expansive. I feel like you could spend several hours at the main campus trilobite section just going through all that data. Oh, cool. Crinoid. Who wants to try to pronounce that? Oh, our crinoid at the main campus is awesome too. Look at all these things. Look at this. And you can get so close to it here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land. Oh, I wish this live could be several hours long to really dig into this, quote unquote, so to speak. But I got to get home to my 3-year-old. The spring break. Any parents watching right now know that spring breaks, it's not really a break. It's just you watching your kids all day long trying to get work done. But we love it. I love it. I'm not complaining at all. So y'all are good. Don't worry about me. I saw a funny quote somewhere. Well, you live in a region with trilobite fossils. That's awesome. Trilobites are, I don't want to say easy to find, but they are plentiful. Same thing with shark teeth. Same thing with, depending on if you know where to look, megalodon teeth are plentiful. And you kind of think about that. Let's talk about megalodon just for a second. And again, I'm not an expert on megalodon. What I know, I kind of soak in by proxy. Megalodon was a shark, just like other sharks, obviously really massive, really big. Sharks go through tens of thousands, like the life cycle of a shark. They will cycle through, just a single shark will cycle through tens of thousands of teeth in its lifetime. So, if you have a megalodon that lived for X amount of years, a single megalodon has itself shed tens of thousands of its own teeth. So, one megalodon with tens of thousands of teeth shed all across the ocean. Now multiply that by hundreds of thousands or millions of megalodons at their peak, each of them spreading out tens of thousands of teeth in their lifetime. Megalodon teeth, they can be hard to find if you don't know where to look, but they are plentiful. Divers find megalodon teeth all the time in rivers, out in the ocean, of course. One of the theories as to why you would find megalodon teeth in a river, maybe up kind of near fresh water, is that it had to do with the cataclysm and climate change and extinction event, is that the oceans kind of maybe got too acidic or too warm or too cold or whatever the case was, that megalodon had to start swimming up into shallower waters. And that's why you see megalodon teeth around ancient mammals and ancient cows, ancient whales and things like that, is because they were kind of swimming upriver into shallower water, not necessarily rivers at the time, but shallower ocean water, maybe kind of murky, brackish water. And towards the end of megalodon's time on Earth, it was feeding on more or less land animals or animals that could kind of come to and fro from the water. So that's why you find a lot of megalodon teeth upriver being deposited by sediment, and then the same process of erosion and everything from the river exposing the megalodon teeth much later on, millions of years later. So it's really cool. Now, this is a long video, so I'm probably going to start wrapping it up here. If y'all live kind of, well, anywhere in Houston really, but if you live kind of in Southwest Houston around Sugar Land, Missouri City, I live in Missouri City. I live in Quail Valley. What's up? Represent. The Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land is such an awesome place to come visit when maybe you don't have an entire day to devote to exploring a museum. You can come to HMNS Sugar Land. It's the neighborhood museum, and you can do an awful lot of exploring in just a couple hours. It's not intimidating. That's probably my favorite thing about HMNS Sugar Land, is it's not intimidating place to visit because you can actually kind of hit it all in a much shorter amount of time. So, yeah, I love it. But it's Pi Day here, March 14th, 2024 at the Houston Museum of Natural Science, Sugar Land. There's some more of our social media crew. There's Kavita in the middle. Steven runs our Facebook. Joy runs Snapchat and Pinterest and our other socials and helps makes videos. Steven makes videos. I makes videos. And it's our pleasure here to kind of show you these things. And yeah, it's just really fun to be able to kind of show you guys this stuff here. So come visit us, Houston Museum of Natural Science in Sugar Land. We would love to see you, not just today, but you can come more days of the week. Check the website. I've included the website in the description here. You can click on HMNS Sugar Land website, find out all about it, when it's open, hours it's open, events that we have going on. Don't overlook it. This is a really, really cool museum, and it's in a lot of our backyards. It's the neighborhood museum. Thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube live stream. I'm Johnny Hemberger, your HMNS YouTube manager. I also produce podcasts. I'm going to plug that stuff. In your favorite podcast player, just type in HMNS or Houston Museum of Natural Science, and you'll see several of our podcast shows. We have shows about sharks and megalodon, like I was just talking about. These are research grade shows, by the way. You'll know everything there is to know about sharks and megalodon. If you type in HMNS into your favorite podcast player, look for Shark's Tooth Be Told. I think the title or the thumbnail is red, and you'll see the megalodon teeth. It's really, really cool. We also have several episodes on King Tut and the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. What else do we have? Science Bites, that's a podcast that I head up. It's kind of shorter or interview style, it can be interview style, shorter little bites of science, thus Science Bites. But just type in HMNS into your favorite podcast player, and you can listen to us on the way to work, while you're doing dishes, while you're folding laundry, while you're doing chores, while you're mowing the lawn, whatever. It's really cool. And hit us up on all the other socials. So, of course, here on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. But Facebook, Instagram, TikTok right now, X, we're over on X. And it was awesome to hang out with y'all. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science Sugar Land. I want to sign off, end the stream, looking at our T-Rex. Maybe get a little better side profile view, give you something better to look at than just my face. What should we name them? Or her? I don't know the gender of this T-Rex. Maybe you should come to the Houston Museum of Natural Science Sugar Land and explore that. But thank you so much for joining me. Johnny Hemberger, HMNS YouTube manager, and I will talk to y'all next time. Happy Pi Day. And here comes the awkward part where I end the stream.